Hi everyone, welcome to Byte and Beyond with Uday. In this video, we will cover ddl-auto update. In case you haven't watched my last video on create and create drop, please click on the I button. It will be somewhere on the screen. So let's begin. And let me introduce our new property, which is update. Okay, now what update says? So one thing is common between update and create. Both property we can use during development. Let me explain you why. Okay. So both this create and update property we can use during development, and this create drop property we use during testing or whenever we are giving demos. Okay. So what is the definition of update? So when the app start, Hibernate creates all or alters tables or columns if needed. So this definition is slightly tricky than compared to create drop and create. But don't worry, I will explain you by giving the examples. Okay. So what does definition meaning? So it means when we start our application, okay, it basically creates tables or columns, or it alters tables if the tables are exist, and it alters columns if the columns are exist. It might sound the definition, you might you still feel that I am not able to understand, but bear with me, I will explain you. So instead of playing with the definition, these words, let's dive into the example, and I will explain you. But before we go, just read this line: does not remove anything. Meaning, update basically, update the existing tables. It do not drop the existing tables. Okay. So whatever is, for example, let me give you the example. So in our case, okay, in our case, these two tables are already here, employee and employee sequence. So when I restart my application or when I start my application, the Hibernate won't delete these two tables. It won't delete anything basically. Okay. It only updates this update. So whenever I put my property as update, okay. So update, what is meaning of update? I mean, if there is something already available, I just need to make some few changes. That's it. It do not delete anything. Okay, because the property name itself is update. So let me give you the example. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me drop these tables, both of these tables. Let me delete these tables, employee and employee sequence. Okay, what I can say, drop two tables. Okay, drop now. So if I refresh now, I don't see any tables over here. And if I execute this button, this button, I will get the error. Okay, employee table does not exist. So that is fine because we have deleted. Now what happens with the update property? So let me start my application. So now what will happen with update? If your tables are not available, okay, if your tables are not available, this update property will create those tables. Meaning, in my database, employee database, these two tables are not available, employee and employee sequence. So Hibernate will see, hey, we don't have any table over here. So let's create them. Okay. So update will create the tables only when we don't have those tables available. So in our case, we don't have any tables. So Hibernate will create those two tables for us. So let me start my application. You can see our this property is update, and I am going to start our application. Let me start. So you will see the create statement over here. See, you can see create statement over here. One create statement for employee table and one for the employee sequence table. But one thing you need to observe, you don't see any drop statement over here because I told you earlier, update meaning do not delete anything, just update. If there is something already available, update, otherwise create, but never delete. So you should always remember that this update statement never delete anything. Okay. So in our case, these two tables were not available in our database. Now these two tables are available. So let me go to the MySQL workbench and hit this executable. I can see the table now. Let me refresh this from here as well. I can see these two tables. Now, what will happen if I stop my application? Okay, so it won't do anything. It won't do anything. So let me stop my application. See, you don't see any SQL queries over here, and our table is still here. See, nothing happened with this. See, our table is still here. Now we need to see what if we restart. In our case, it won't do anything because we haven't made any changes with our entities. Okay, this 200 we have kept as it is. We haven't changed anything. It is as it is. So Hibernate will won't do anything. You won't see any SQL statement over here. See, you don't see any SQL statement over here. Nothing. And you can still see your table even if I refresh. Okay, let me now insert one record for you and again restart my application so you can get the better idea. Our data has been persisted 201 and let me refresh. We have a record. Now just give you the just for the demonstration that during stop it do not delete our tables. So I have stopped my application. uh, this statement is for when we have inserted our new record. Okay, this is not for the delete, so ignore this because as you remember we have created one employee in our database, so this statement was for that purpose only. So we have stopped our application. Okay, and if I refresh I can still see my see the records. Okay, and if I refresh over here as well I can see both the tables. Now, even if I restart, okay, our data and our tables will be safe over there. Okay, so you don't see any, SQL statement in our console because we haven't made any changes in our employee entity. It is as it is. Okay, and in our MySQL workbench, if I hit the execute button, I can still see my records, which we have persisted in our uh, last scenario. And even if I refresh my schemas, I can still see these records. So what is the use of update? So let me go to the definition. Hmm. So now let's read this definition. So now you might get some idea what is update. So when the app starts, Hibernate create or alters table or columns if needed. So what we have seen so far, we have started our application. That is correct. In our first case, the was not available. Okay, table were not available in our database. So Hibernate has created. So this part is clear. Okay. Now what we need to see that alter tables and alter columns. What does that mean? Because when we did not had tables, we did not had tables in our database. At that time, Hibernate has created two tables for us. So creates tables is clear. Now what is remaining? Alter tables and alter columns. Alter meaning update tables or update columns. So let's first see the what is meaning of alter tables. Okay. So alter tables meaning when you add new column in your table, when you remove column from your table, or when you change the type of your uh, uh, column type, when you change the type of your column. So this is called the alter tables. I mean basically when you add new columns in your table or remove the columns from your table, it calls the alter tables. Okay, so first focus on the alter tables. So let me introduce a new column, meaning new field in our entity. So in this case, let me add a new field over here. So I was giving you the example of the middle name. So let me introduce a middle name over here. Okay, middle name. Fine. Let me create getter setter, getter and setter. Okay. Now, as you see, I have made update in my employee entity. Okay, this is our entity, and I have made update this in this entity. What I have updated? I have added middle name in my entity. So as per the meaning of update, my table should get updated automatically. Okay, so let me go to my workbench and this time just let me hit the execute button. I don't see any middle name over here. Okay, neither. Let me close that unused tab and let me quickly refresh this. Okay, okay, yeah, column. Okay, yes. Neither I see, that middle name column over here as well. I can see only this employee ID, email, first name, last name, salary. Okay. I don't see any middle name. This is the columns which we were using for last few videos. So these are the columns we already have. Even if I execute, I don't see the middle name column over here. So let me restart because now I have added the middle name. So I am expecting this middle name column should uh, should get added in this employee table. So let me restart. So this is the restart button. I am restarting my Spring Boot application and it is starting up. You might see alter table column over SQL query over here. See, alter table employee add column. Okay, we are altering the table and adding the new column middle name with varchar 255. Okay, now if I refresh, if I execute this button, I should see the middle name column. See, I can see the middle name column. Earlier, earlier it wasn't here. Now we can see middle name column. Now if I go to this table information section and if I refresh, middle name column should get added over here as well. So let me refresh. See, middle name varchar 255, this column has been added in our table. So this is the magic of our update. It won't delete anything, but yes, if you make any changes in your entity, those changes will reflect in your database. In this case, we have added middle name, so it has created middle name column in our database. You can see middle name column is over here. Now go to our PPT and understand once again. So when the app starts, Hibernate creates or alters tables. Okay, so create part is cover for tables and columns, because whenever we create a new table, new columns are definitely going to create it. Okay, so create is clear for tables and columns as well. Alters is clear for tables, because now we have just seen that we have added middle name property in our employee table, employee entity, and that uh, entity update has created a new column in our employee table, which is middle name. So our alter table definition is clear. Alter tables. What is alters tables? Okay, this is clear. Now what is remaining? Now one thing is remaining, which is what I can say, alter columns. What is alter columns meaning? Meaning you already have we already have existing column, and you are doing some changes. For example, let me give you the example. What is alter column? So let's say we had a last name column. Okay, we had changed its length to 200. Now I want to keep it as 100. I don't need a column with 200 characters. I need a column with 100 characters only. So for that, I am keeping this 100. Okay, I'm keeping this as 100. Let me go to the table information column as well, and let me refresh once. You can still see the last name length is 200. So if I restart my application, so let me first stop. Okay, and let me go to this console. Okay, yeah, our alter table is clear. Now we are seeing the alter column. So now, similar to alter table, we should see the alter column SQL statement for this specific column last name. You can see, even after shutting down our application, our data is as it is. Okay, we still have our data over here, and last name length is still 200. But now let me restart. Let me start my application once back. So the last name length, character length should be changed back to 100. Let me start my application and see what happens. So basically, we have alter table employee modify column. So see, we are modifying or altering our column. The column name is last name, and the character length is 100. So if you go to the table information section and refresh, you should see the 100 here. See, we have 100. Okay, so this is the 100 over here. And if I refresh, there won't be any change over here, but you can see those changes in the table information. So we have altered our column as well. So now our definition should be clear. When the app start, Hibernate create create when it creates when something is not exist, then it creates tables. Once the tables are exist, it basically alters tables or alters columns if needed. If needed meaning when there is something has been changed in our entity, in our employee entity. If something has been changed in our employee entity, in that case only, our tables will be altered. Okay. And we have also seen it does not remove anything. So let me give you the example of this as well. Does not remove anything. So let me do one thing. Let me remove this column, middle name. Now let's say our upper management has decided we don't need middle name. Okay. They decide anything at any time. You should be, as a developer, you should be ready to tackle such situation. Okay. Your stakeholder can decide anything, but you should be ready. This is your job. They can throw anything on you. You should be able to handle, or catch such things. So, as a developer, this is your job, and that's for you get paid. Okay, you should be. You can handle anything. You can do anything. As a developer, we should be capable to do anything. I mean, any kind of work, any kind of job. So now middle name has been removed. Now let me go to the refresh section. Now you guys are might thinking that we have removed the middle name property from our entity. Now you guys might assuming that this column, middle name column, should also get deleted from this table. But if you are thinking like that, then you are wrong. Because as per this definition, update property does not remove anything. Once it is created, it is there. It do not delete anything. So let me give you the example. Let's see. So let me go to the employee section and hit the execute button. Now I can see we have a middle name column. And even if I restart my application after removing the middle name property, I will still see the middle name column in my table. So let me restart. Simple. Our application is starting up. You won't see any drop statement or alter statement in our console. See, we don't have any SQL statement in our console when we have restarted our application. Now let's verify that in the workbench as well. Now it is a moment of truth. Let me execute this statement. Tada! We still have middle name column. So now you might have understand this line as well. That update does not remove anything. Once it is created, meaning it is there. Even if you remove those property from your entity, update won't going to delete or remove it from the database. Okay. So update meaning only create or update. If it is not exist, it will create it. If it is still there, it will update it. But update never delete anything from our table or database. That you should remember. Okay. Now our, I think uh, update section is all, I think almost covered. Now let's see the use case. We usually use the update property during development because the answer is, obvious that in development, everything keeps changing. So sometimes we are using that, and after some time, we got the instruction that let's use this. I mean, let's introduce middle name column. Let's introduce a phone number column. Okay. So this kind of requirement can come on the fly. So that is why we use update statement during the development. Okay. And here is the example: add new field middle name in the entity, which we already did. Hibernate will add the middle name column in the DB, which we have already seen. Now we have just seen remove a field, old column stays in DP. So we have removed this middle name property from our entity, but we can still see the middle name column in our DP. So this is also clear. And yeah, one more thing. I mean, for create create drop, it helpful for during testing and demos. This create statement, I mean, this create property helpful during development. Update is also helpful during development. So it can create anything. Anything meaning, let me give you the quick example. Anything meaning. What is anything mean? So if you add new property over here, it will create it. Even if you add a new entity over here, similar to employee, let's say if you add the address entity, all this all this update, create or create drop will add new table as well if you introduce a new entity. Not just if you make changes in your existing entity, it will also create whatever changes you are making in your existing entities, as well as if you are introducing new entity, these two statement, create drop, create and update, will also create those things as well. So let me just give you the quick demonstration. Let me create a new entity just for the example. We will delete it later on, but for the example, let me introduce new entity over here, a simple entity just for the example. So for the entity, as you remember, we need to use other entity annotation, and for the entity we need to create a primary key. So for that, I am keeping the primary key type as long in our entity, and the primary key name will be, let's say, id, only id. Let me keep the id, and then I'm going to use at the rate id, that id annotation. So I'm telling Hibernate this is my primary key, and what is the strategy to to create a primary key. So for that, I'm defining the strategy, and the type is auto. Now let me introduce one more field, which is, let's say, street. In address we have streets, so let's introduce a street and just quickly create a getter and setter methods. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, this update, create and create drop can also create new entity. I mean, if you are introducing a new entity, this create drop, this create and update can create new tables if you are introducing a new entity. Okay, this is the common for three of this property. So let me start my application. If you see, my property is update. Okay, let me start. It will create a new entity in our, I mean, it will create a new table in our database. See, new table has been introduced in our database. Okay, create table address with column ID and street. Our primary key is ID. You can see now this table is created. Even if you go to your database and refresh your schemas, you can see your address, uh, your address table over here. See ID and street. So create, drop, or only create or update are powerful to create new tables as well. If you are introducing new entity, then it will create new table for you. Okay, so this is also there. So it is not only update your existing entity or make changes in your existing entity. If you are creating new entity, then it will definitely create new table as well. It is true for all of this. This is the kind of homework for you to try this at your own. uh, Create a new entity and keep the we have already seen the example with the update. You can set the create and create drop. You will definitely see the address table in your database when your property is create drop or create as create. So you can try this on your own, and if you are facing issue, then you can let me know. I will definitely help you. So yeah, our what I can say, our update property is also covered. Now let's move ahead. So update is helpful during development, similar to create. So yeah, that is it for the ddl-auto update. Thanks for watching. If you're loving my video, then like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next part.